How would you describe to somebody what that should look like for them?
Off the top of my head, I would say a leader is somebody that can inspire others, assemble others, and bring them together for collaboration or work.
I love that.
So whether it's your team, if you're in, say you're in like the tech space and it's just leading a team on a project, you're working on a piece of software. I think being able to motivate people and inspire them truly so that they understand that what they're doing matters and their work is important and it's valued. Just off the top of my head. Yeah. That's what I would say for leadership. I'm sure somebody
beautiful.
would disagree with me.
I would just add to that, and this is the one that I feel came to light for myself, is a leader leads by actions, what they do.
Yes.
Not telling people.
I do have that somewhere in the notes, yeah. For
the actionable part I find is most important.
What's going on, everyone? Today we are talking about creating culture in your business, how to make changes if you need to, and some other fun stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
All culture related. So we got that question that we put out, I think, on stories, and someone wrote salon culture.
Yeah.
There was nothing else to it. It was just salon culture. So we'll dive in and talk about salon culture.
Chat about it.
Before we get going, we want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by our friends PingPong Design and Marketing. If you want to love your website again, or if you just need a website, if you're looking for more clients to fill your chair or your gym, because PingPong is not just for hair pros, but the entire health, beauty, and fitness industry, reach out to PingPong and Chris and his team and let them know. They do internet marketing campaigns that inform and convert. That's their mission.
Cool.
They build websites. They do SEO. If you don't know what that is, stay tuned because we have some episodes on that stuff coming up. And last thing I want to say before we jump into this episode is that PingPong's offering our audience a special discount on any website or digital marketing campaign. So visit the show notes and check that out.
PingPong.
Welcome back to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. My name is Todd. I'm here with my wife and business partner, Jen.
Hello.
Hi. It's early morning. My voice feels a little scratchy.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Here we are.
We're here. We're doing it. We showed up.
We are. So we're going to dive into culture. So what does culture look like in a business? Obviously, we're going to relate things to a salon because that's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, I love this topic.
That's our business. So I think that great culture comes from strong leadership.
Absolutely 5,000,000% agree.
All right, moving on.
Is 5,000,000%? Maybe.
Sure, why not?
It is for me.
Yeah, I think if you are not a strong leader, you need to work on that first. And everything just comes from that. Like everything coming from the top is sort of a cheesy cliche to say, but everything starts at the top. Like that really is true in this circumstance.
Let's define those sort of.
Okay.
What's a leader? Because I've owned a salon for a long time. Different leadership hats have I worn where I thought I was a leader, but I might have been more of a dictator, or I might have been more of a nothing. Like I showed up, so I thought that was leading the team. I put on a nice outfit and I'm like, oh, everyone's going to look up to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think.
Just respect you by default.
Yeah.
You're in charge.
I'm the owner.
Right.
I'm the leader. I'm at the top. I own the business. So I find it to be important that people understand truly what a leader means, because if you're not leading your team correctly and you think you are and you're like, why do I have a bad culture? It's because you don't understand what leading a team looks like or being a leader. And since you're great at defining things, how would you describe to somebody what that should look like for them?
Off the top of my head, I would say a leader is somebody that can inspire others, assemble others, and bring them together for some sort of collaboration or work.
I love that.
So whether it's your team, if you're in, say you're in like the tech space and it's just leading a team on a project, you're working on a piece of software. I think being able to motivate people and inspire them truly so that they understand that what they're doing matters and their work is important and it's valued. Just off the top of my head. Yeah. That's what I would say for leadership. I'm sure somebody would disagree with me.
I would just add to that, and this is the one that I feel came to light for myself is a leader leads by actions, what they do.
Yes.
Not telling people.
I do have that somewhere in the notes. Yeah. For
the
show.
actionable part I find is most important for me. It's where I really became a leader. I feel in our salon, with our team, because I started to realize what I do is what they're looking up to. Anyway, thanks for playing that game with me. It was fun.
Yeah. So I want people to know that as an owner or a leader, interchangeable in this podcast for this episode. So as the owner, what do you want to see? You're the visionary. You have to create the culture. It cannot just be a wait and see, which I feel like a lot of businesses do by default. And I don't know if they realize they're doing it.
Right.
But I've seen a lot of people start businesses and their culture just becomes.
Yes.
It just happens. And then we're going to get into it in a little bit. I don't want to get into it right this second, but because I'd like to lay the definitions and stuff like you were saying.
Foundation of it all.
But I will say this, changing your culture is a lot fucking harder.
Oh, it's so hard.
Than just building it correctly.
Harder than you can even imagine if you've never done it. It is really, really difficult. Can be done, but you've got to.
It's going to be another job.
Dig in deep. So if you just set it up from the beginning and you follow we talk about this and it's so repetitive, but it's so important, your mission, your core values and those things, then when you're making decisions or you're answering questions, it's always going to divert back to that, which in return keeps your business flowing in a very consistent manner. Sure.
I also want to say that as a leader, you need to be, so when you come up with your vision and I'm not even talking about a vision statement or anything like that, just your vision in your head of what your business looks like, you have to understand no one else is in there with you. Mm-hmm. So you have to be crystal freaking clear.
Yeah.
When you're bringing that to your team, what you expect, what they should expect. I think that's another important one that people forget about.
Agreed.
And then you have to be able to communicate that to your team. Otherwise, they won't know.
Right. They have to have that. While you're explaining that vision needs to come to light in their mind so they can picture what you're saying.
Right. You have to be great at communicating.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to struggle with it. And that's okay to struggle with it. You have to do this.
Right. The struggle comes then, pivot. What didn't you explain correctly? What did you not lay out well? What are you not following that you laid out? Like all of those things are going to come back at you, and you have to get your team and that environment back on track as quick as possible.
Right. You have to keep in mind too that you decide what's happening with your business, not your staff, not your clients.
That's a really important one because in the salon world, I've myself even gotten...
Here we go. Go off.
No, but caught up in... I want to create this team that's just all of these things. And before I knew it, I'd be down doing everything for them and letting them run the show, right? And it became a very toxic environment very quickly. And I, at that time, didn't realize how I got there. But as you grow, you start to be like, whoa, I started to run my business.
I allowed that.
Yeah, I allowed
that sucks.
Them to come
Won't
into it.
do that again.
And that's also not even fair to them. Like I actually at one point had one of my staff members like, can you set up some rules for us? Because like we don't understand what's expected. And I'm like,
wow.
Whoa. It was coming to me. And interestingly enough, that same person was like, well, I'm not going to follow those because I'm one of the top providers in here. So those rules aren't for me. They're for everyone else. And I'm like, okay, whoa, again. Like
you think you're in charge?
Like, oh my gosh. Like she asked for it and I was like, oh yeah, we do need this. And then it's like, yeah, but I'm not following that. Like
it's for everyone else that doesn't get it.
Yeah, I'm so busy in here. I don't have to do that.
That person needed to be fired on the spot.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I'm sure yeah.
That was the beginning of the downfall of my last business. So anyway.
So this stuff is important then.
It's very important.
And something that we took very seriously. Yeah.
When creating Hello, for sure.
Exactly. So let's dive into how do we do this stuff? Where do we start?
Yeah, that's it. It can be overwhelming, right? So yeah, where do you start?
I think you start with yourself, and I'm sure everyone's journey is different. But I think it's important to really sort of look at yourself, be honest, be self-aware, and I don't want to say judge yourself, but you have to be able to look at yourself.
Yeah, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are you going to actually be able to stick to, follow?
Yeah.
And I like this one, and you say this a lot to me when I run into walls, in a sense. Not actually run into walls. Like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel in your business? Like, what will make you happy when you put these things out? Not everything's going to be about that, but that desired feeling is going to help drive all of the things that you lay out. So at the end of the day or the year or wherever you reevaluate yourself and your business, that if you're not feeling that way, now you can look at it and say, why? What's tripping me up here?
Mm-hmm. Where would you go from there?
So yourself, then it needs to be that kind of vision.
Yeah, I guess you have to from there lay out your core
values,
if you don't have them already.
Mission.
Yeah, all
of those
stuff.
things, because
so you have the direction.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. That's going to be your real foundation, and is going to set up everything else you put into play from there.
I think where I get like just then where I get sort of tripped up with my words is because everyone's business is going to be so different. Mm-hmm. Even in the hair world. So say you have 2 barbershops. One of them, cleanliness could be at the forefront. It's just it's part of our culture. And that's something we have at Hello.
Yeah.
Cleanliness is it's paramount. It's in our handbook that it trumps everything. Mm-hmm. I think it says sanitation trumps everything.
My staff said the other day, because they didn't know me in my last salon, and they were like, how was your last salon? Like, it must have been so clean, like so whatever. And I just went, no,
yeah.
It was nothing like this. Like, I can't picture you running a business any other way. I'm like, yeah, you can't picture anything that was my previous life before Hello, because I was a whole different person. And
yeah, you've done a lot of work to not have that happen.
And to set standards like we do and hold them up and stay true to them and keep it going. But it's always interesting when someone's like, oh, this must have been how you've always done it. Like, no, I didn't arrive at this from day one. And when we opened Hello, I had to come clean with you. I've said this on a few podcasts, I think, like, hey, Todd, I'm a dirty stylist and I'm not sure really how to do it. And I never had the confidence to ask for help on that or who to ask. I didn't know. I'm like, this is what I need out of this. And this is what I think will work for stylists and barbers to stay clean, because we need it to be simple and really laid out clear.
That's another thing that we have in our culture. It's simplicity. It shouldn't be difficult to figure out what.
Yes, and people will follow simple things.
I do want to finish my thought, though. So you have 2 barbershops, for example. That's okay. This is a chill morning. We've got coffee going on.
It's good coffee.
So you have one barbershop A, and cleanliness is at the forefront of their culture. And then you have barbershop B, and yes, they value cleanliness, but their whole thing is get the clients in quick as possible and get them out so they can be on their way for their day. Now, who am I to say which one of those is right and which one of those is wrong?
Right.
I'm no one, because I'm not in charge of their business.
Right. It's yours to run how you want.
Yeah, so I think it's important to point that out, because I keep getting tripped up, but I want to be cautious, because what we say is just how we do things.
Yes.
And that's okay if you are in...
And it's because they fit
If you're not in the hair world and you're listening to this podcast, which we keep finding out more and more people out there are listening that are not in the hair world. We found out over Easter weekend.
Yeah, not everything has to... this is what we do, which hopefully inspires you to even get clarity in your business.
Right.
And then you decide from there where to go.
Right. So what I was going to point out is we're just making things relatable, and we'll talk about the things that we do. But if you're listening and you're like, that doesn't make sense, that's got to be wrong. No, it's not wrong. It's just...
maybe not right for you.
Right. Right. I think
again, it goes back to you. You have to figure out, what do you want? Exactly.
I think it's important to point out that people... So one thing that we do, and I think that most... trying to think off the top of my head, but I think that most businesses probably need to do this, is we invest in creating sort of collaborative team building opportunities for our team.
Time. Yes.
Because collaboration is big, and people get used to that. Sort of, you can't like host an event for like social media or whatever and do it once and never do it again if you're claiming that's part of your culture.
Correct.
So like, yeah, we work together. We're collaborative 1 day a year.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't build a solid foundation. So when you get 12, 18, 24 months down the road with your business and collaboration is no more part of your business than anything else would be, maybe turning on the lights. It's just, that's because you either decided to build it or you decided not to build it.
Right.
It's either
Time
there,
to reevaluate.
Right. It's either there or it's not. So, and opportunities are great because opportunities and rewards for hard work are important. Mm-hmm. Like your staff needs to understand that they're appreciated. I'm not talking about just handing them envelopes of cash and doing random stuff. I'm not talking
they probably
about.
Love that.
We have done that. We actually have done that. I felt like I was on The Sopranos.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I took people to a coffee shop and I handed them an envelope and I was like, I just want you to know we appreciate you. Thanks. So people will do stuff. People will work hard, but they want to know it's for something or else they're going to start to lose interest. And that's when, if you are not doing, and not everyone's going to fit into this, but if you're not doing a good job as a leader to hold the interest of your staff, they're going to start to get that the grass is greener over there syndrome. And that is a lot in the fucking hair world.
Yeah.
People either jump around a lot, leave places a lot, which looking around, I don't blame them.
Yeah, there's a
lot of places I would leave.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
I heard of one recently and I was like, well, it's probably been the same
since they opened
for 100 years there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why people get bored? Don't keep stuff the same. Consistency is important, but you have to modernize. You have to keep progressing, keep moving forward, innovate. I don't know. I guess that's in my head.
Yeah. And for us, I mean, that's part of our culture. That's what we want.
Unless stale, stagnant business culture is what you want, I guess.
There is, yes, I would say that is popular.
That is a thing.
In the salon industry, without maybe realizing that it's popular. Because when you start to think of changes and you've been doing it for so long, you start to look at it and like, that's too much work. And again, I know lots of those. That is a definite thing. For us, it's always changing, always innovating. But also I personally want to surround myself with a team that wants that for themselves too. And I've realized that that doesn't mean it's going to come overnight. It's going to take time to find the right people that want to be part of that.
A lot of this stuff takes time.
Yeah, and work. And that's where I think...
That's why I was earlier, I was like, well, you're looking at, 12, 18, 24 months. And
the long game's not always as fun. You get bored. But you've got to keep going. You always remind me, you're like, Jen, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. Like,
yeah,
it's a marathon.
So business in general is another topic that we get. People will drop us a comment and they say, just talk about business in general. I'll talk about it right now for everyone listening.
It's always talking.
Business in general is a long. It's not a short.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming in and they're like, all right, in 6 months, I'm going to be on a beach, not worrying about anything for the rest of my life. I'll just start a small business and in 6 months. If you think that, oof, you better have a solid plan. Now, does that happen? I'm sure it does. I'm sure people hit the lottery too.
Yeah. Got to start playing though if you want to hit it.
True. And when you get to 6 months and you haven't hit it.
Now what?
Now what do you do? Exactly. So just, I would understand that if you're listening too, that this is a long game.
Yeah.
A lot of the systems and stuff that we put in place have been changed already. Mm-hmm. Over the course
of... That's okay.
Yeah, that's what we like.
Yeah.
We're constantly looking at
different
things and breaking them.
Yeah, and things that become important to us that maybe we didn't realize or not so important. All of that can change and should, because then you're growing and moving and making fun things happen.
It's definitely important to understand how people want to feel and be talked to. I think that's a big one with culture, because if you're laying out a culture from ground zero, or you're 3 years in and you need to change your culture, if you can't communicate with your staff and understand how they want to be talked to, first of all.
Yeah, and that's an individual thing.
Yes.
I pretty much.
This is not for group meeting.
Right.
It's going to be so ineffective and waste so much fucking time if you try to change your culture through a meeting.
One of our staff that was like, I always just self-doubt. I'm like, I know. And that's why I'm just going to keep pushing you because I also know you want to grow. Like, I know her goals. I know where she wants to be. And I understand all the hurdles she has to go through. So I speak with her very differently than I do majority of the rest of the staff. Like, each one, I know where their strengths and weaknesses are and what their goals are and that desired feeling. So they all get a different conversation depending on what we're talking about.
Yeah, man. That's important.
Very. And that creates a good salon culture because if you can't talk to them all the same, they're not going to listen. They're not going to understand.
No, they're individuals.
And that's not relatable.
They're individuals, and so are you as a business owner. So you need to be clear about what you expect as well.
Yes.
So creating a culture of collaboration was important to us at Hello. And when we say that, we're not talking about doing trust falls or going out and get fucking smashed with your team. That's dumb. We're not talking about that stuff. We're talking, again, about creating scenarios in which people are working together. So let's talk about some ways we do that. So let's use some examples because people listening are like, yeah, great. Collaboration. I want that too. Like, now give me a little, like, how do I do that?
Yeah, what does that look like?
The thing that jumps out to me the most, I would say, is Thursday mornings.
Yep.
And that's a big one. So we do, for everyone outside of the salon or hasn't been into our salon, not familiar, we do education almost weekly. Holidays, things come up, vacations, things come up, whatever. So life happens. It's not a mandatory thing. Our staff's welcome to come. We've recently started having a little interest from outside, which we talked about.
And education is one of our core values.
Yes.
So it's very important to us, and we lay that out the minute we even interview with someone, so they understand.
Correct. All right, we have a little kid here. Let's do a break and grab him. All right, and we're back. We were talking about education Thursdays. So most Thursdays, we run education in our salon. Sometimes that looks like technical education. Sometimes it's just a little powwow to update people on what's going on. One time we announced that we launched a new website. That was very exciting. And then people talked about that and what to expect. One day we talked about marketing yourself, finding your niche.
Yeah.
How to find clients, build your clientele, like stuff like that. So it's not just, technical education, or it's not just, we watch someone do a haircut and there's your education. It's what do people want to know about?
Yeah, it's very hands-on. It's very to the times even. Like sometimes stuff comes up. Like I think one time it was even some posts on social media. It's like, let's talk about this. Like, you don't think this, I forget what it was, but it was like, you don't think this is cool, but this is like kind of, if you look back in the industry where this came from, why this is trending this way, whatever, I never knew that. And this is where like knowledge is power. Like we really love speaking to our team as to why we do things.
Yes.
And not everybody needs the why, but I'm a why. I want to know because if I understand it, I'm doing it. I'm full in. So a lot of even education, we talk about whys for all of the stuff we're doing in our salon, technically, business-wise, all of these things. And it's so fun to watch the light bulbs and like their heads are like, whoa, I had no idea. That's so cool. And then it's just part of where the culture all comes together. And then they're repeating everything we're saying and everybody gets excited.
I think that's important for good, like any good business should, and I think we're a good business, but any good business should take it upon themselves to set up the next wave of businesses. So we have some people on our team. I wouldn't be surprised if they opened their own place someday.
Yeah. Can't wait to help them.
And I want to be helping them now too. I want to be giving them what they need and setting an example as a leader so that they're not like just going off and creating another toxic salon business out there.
Yeah.
Why would I want that?
Or another one of what we do when they need to do it better. Right?
Yes.
Like
yeah. I don't know a lot of owners that would say that.
Yeah, it's just
nobody can do it better than me. I don't know who that was I was imitating. I just
good voice impression
just a
of
pissed off business owner somewhere.
I'm mad.
Smashing beer bottles in an alley. I deserve it. 6 months I put in.
Oh, geez.
All right, so toward clients, what does this look like when we're creating a culture? I have a couple examples.
Okay.
So at our salon, when you get a barbershop, whatever you want to call it, when you get a shampoo service, it's little details. We have reclining sinks.
Mm-hmm.
The feet just go up.
Yep.
In the beginning, we had some people, they're no longer with us. We had some people that were like, well, I just forgot, or they probably don't want that, or whatever. No. You don't decide.
They don't know what they want.
Correct.
Because they haven't had it.
They haven't experienced it. Now, if you put someone's feet up and they're like, oh, my back's kind of strained in that position, put their fucking feet down.
Yeah. Or if they're like, I don't want my feet up,
they'll let you know.
Just give them the experience the first time.
Correct.
And
that's exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Just do what we've laid out.
I think
if it needs to change, I think we've proven that we'll change shit. Because we change our business all the time to try to be better.
I always say too, like it can be very easy for a client to come in and there's a lot of anxiety walking into
I know exactly where you're going, and this is important.
Yeah.
So listen up, folks, and hit subscribe or whatever.
Walking into a salon as a client, like sometimes you'll hear them say, "Oh, I'm just in my gym clothes. Oh, I didn't wash my hair today." Because they walk in, and most of your staff is probably dressed up or whatever. They look trendy, they look cool, and this person
they
now
didn't see
feels
your passive aggressive post about how you need to come in with clean hair or whatever.
Yeah, and I always say it's fine, don't worry about it. And then you have that client that comes in and like, oh, I don't need to be shampooed, just spray me down. So in this situation, it's very...
Spray me down?
Yeah, water bottle, spray me down.
Oh.
Right?
I was like with a hose. I was picturing.
Yeah. So
oh my God.
I want to challenge you because it's very easy to get complacent. And if you're tired and you're exhausted, you're like, oh, great, I'm just going to get this person in and out, whatever. They'll spray their hair and call it a day. They don't want a shampoo. But I would challenge you to, when that new client comes in and like, just spray me down, to say, hey, the experience I give here at my salon, for us at Hello, is it includes a shampoo. Can you allow me today to give you the full experience of what I think your haircut experience should be? And then next time when you come in, if you're like, I just want my hair sprayed down, I'm totally game for that. But I would like to treat you today to what I want for you. And I'm going to say 10 times out of 10, they're going to say, yeah, okay, I'll try that. The reason why they probably said the spray down thing is either they had a really bad shampoo experience.
I was going to say, to take it a step further, I have this in my notes of find out why they don't want it.
Right. There's probably a lot of things that happen. So to just sit and chat with them for a second and like, let me do this for you today my way. And then the next time you come in, if you decide to, if you're like, that was great, but not for me, totally cool. Totally fine. But it's great to have that conversation. Don't just let them dictate it. Like, nope, I don't want that. Okay, well, yes, exactly. Why?
Clients don't get to decide the culture.
Yeah, why? And this is your first time seeing me.
That doesn't mean force people to do shit either.
Right.
Don't take that out of context,
totally.
folks.
And if at the end of that, they're like, honestly, Jen, I really just want you to spray my hair down. I just don't want a shampoo. Okay, cool, then I will. But thanks for at least letting me indulge in what I could have done for you. And maybe next time you'll let me. Like, that's all. And I think it's really important as the service provider. I still need to find a new word for that. But they came in, they trusted.
Hair pro would work.
Okay, as the hair pro, I love that. Thank you. That's what you say.
I mean, it's the name of our
gosh. Yeah, get it together, Jen. As the hair pro, it's your job to really get that client out of their uncomfortable zone and make them feel comfortable for whatever it is you want. I don't want a toner. Okay, well, I don't even know if you know what a toner is. But let's talk about that. I've had clients tell me I don't want a toner, and then I'm into now color theory with them. Not diving deep in the rabbit hole, but just a couple things of why they might have had a bad experience.
About to spin kick you.
No, I
wall.
keep it really simple. But
don't get technical with clients.
Yeah, a couple key points of why it may not have worked for them, and then why it would today. Why I do it differently. Why we do it differently, because we do it the right way. But
shots fired. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
But I think it's important for you.
I'm feeling feisty this morning. I don't know why.
I think it's important to treat every client that comes in, but those new ones that are like, no, I don't like that. Like, find out why. And find out why you could do it different for them. And find out why you could change their mind on that. We do that.
And be honest with yourself, too, because maybe it's an experience they had at your business that they didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
So if they're going to tell you that, that's some extremely valuable feedback. So ditch your ego. Mm-hmm. And do the work to make sure that doesn't happen again. And that will then, because I said, that right there is a client you take care of forever. If they're willing to come to you and say, "Hey, I didn't really enjoy this part of your, offering or service," or because we got some of that feedback yesterday. Cool. Did we? I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said, how was your experience? Like, the pressure on the shampoo was not that great when so and so did my shampoo, and I'm like, thank you for telling me that, because now I have something to work with. Yeah, it wasn't a person just going on to, Google or whatever and leaving a shit review trashing your business. It was someone giving you honest feedback and allowing us the opportunity to correct it.
And again, this is, this culture will keep going
Pressure
in your salon
is also
if you
really
do that.
subjective, so it's...
We usually, I'm going to say majority, all of our staff asks, how's the pressure? Like that is a conversation we have, especially if it's the first time you've shampooed somebody.
Gotcha.
So
I don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I just rock the pressure I want.
And you can do that too. But
Never had a complaint.
It's a little different with...
Never had anyone not want it again.
With short hair too, because you can get in there really easily. With longer hair, it's very different. And the shampoo, when you're rinsing out color, it's a longer process. So it is different, I would say.
All right, let's jump into creating your culture. That was a little geared towards like clients, right?
Yeah.
Just an example. Now, what about staff? So you're a business owner, you're thinking about becoming a business owner, which is awesome.
Super cool.
Reach out. We'll help you. Boop, your nose. So what does this stuff look like? I think you truly need to value and develop your team.
Yes.
I don't know, respect, there's a word. You have to appreciate your team, because I'm telling you right now, unless you're in an independent suite locked alone by yourself, and even still, you're not doing it alone. You have help. You need help. When you realize that a team is going to take you a lot further than you could go by yourself, you will be far more successful.
Yes.
Wildly.
And team is something, if you are, yes, a salon suite owner, your team could be your accountant, your bank.
That's why I said you're not doing it on your own either way.
When you're like, oh, what is he talking about? I don't have a team. Like, no, your team is the other part that drives your business. If you are a salon owner or a business owner that has a staff, yes, now we're talking, you have teams in all different directions that are helping that business stay afloat, So for sure, your staff team is one that you need to nurture, develop, and understand what all of their needs are and where do they want to be. You could have a staff member that's like, I don't have the drive to go to X, Y, and Z. I just want to do this, and this is what I want to do. And you can still nourish and grow that person. It's just going to look differently than the person that wants to get way further ahead, way quicker.
Well, their end goal may not be to open their own space, but they still need to see opportunity, because they might not want to be an owner. They just want to work for someone, but that someone doesn't have to be you. If you're not creating opportunities, your staff can leave. If you're not building a culture that rewards people, again, it doesn't have to be monetary, but if you're not building, it's like, think about the gym world and like fitness world, we'll say. The companies that figured out, and this was going back now, a ways back, decades. The businesses in the gym industry and fitness industry that figured out how to gamify things were the ones that succeeded. So you had places, you had things like Peloton, right? It's a game. Hey, don't forget to get on here. So you keep your streak going.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget to try out this new class. Hey, don't forget to do this. Oh, hey, you almost hit this milestone. Try to hit that. Right? They made it a game, and that does very well in our minds to keep us engaged.
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
Look at that for your staff, right? But keep creating opportunities for them.
Yeah, and as adults, things aren't as fun, or you sometimes can miss that competitive edge. I think you might have staff members that you're like, oh, they don't ever want to do any better than what they're already doing. Have you asked them? Because I know there's people that still want to be pushed. That's part of being in a salon environment like ours. Like, they just need to be pushed slower, but they still want to get better. They still want to progress. They just might not want it as fast as the other one. And that's part of your job as a leader, is to still get them moving forward and getting them better than who they were yesterday.
Agreed. Another thing I want to point out too is that your staff needs to trust that they need a level of comfort when it comes to you, right? They need to understand that they can come to you without fear.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to get in trouble or whatever, which is, we are in an industry where a lot of people coming out of school are in their early years. They're in their early 20s, if that. So there's a level of I guess, fear that comes along with going to someone that's your superior.
Right.
Right. And I don't know if that comes from our culture or what. Or
I think also a lot of
they
times
just think bosses are supposed to be mean or they're not approachable. I guess bosses, they weren't, like, you didn't go to the boss unless you had a problem.
Right.
And you wanting to grow and you having ambition wasn't a fucking problem to your manager at a restaurant. They were like, get the fuck out of my office. No, you can't have that day off. You're working.
I think a lot of people get caught up in how do I say what I want to say to my owner?
You say it.
I was just, and so the fear
My
of
owner.
that, my owner, I don't know.
No.
The owner of the salon or whoever.
My owner.
Shut up. Whatever. Bear with me, guys. But in any situation, the fear of, well, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to ask my question. Just say it however you have to say it. Get it out. And then, like, you can be like, oh, that didn't sound right. Hold on. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, you just need to get it out, however that is for you. Don't worry about how you're going to say it or trying to make this perfect question come out. Just get it out of your mouth. Go.
So if you have your salon or your business, whatever, up and running, and you're a few years down the line and you're like, I need to change some stuff. Great. That means you're doing some work. You're reflecting and you know that things need to change. Making a change is easy, I would say. You just make it. You just inform everyone, hey, this is what we're doing now. It's maintaining that over time. Yeah. That is the challenge. Because I've seen this too. A lot of business owners will put in, they'll make a change, whatever it is. Hey guys, we open at 6 now instead of 7, whatever it is.
Sure.
That's probably a terrible example.
It works.
I don't care though. Send it. So you make a change in your business and then you're not constantly reminding people of it. It doesn't seem important to you. So why would it be important to me?
Right.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
More than opening an hour early.
Yeah.
I guess that would just be a change. Like, how do you, how do you not consistently do that? You're either open or you're not. So I just want to tell people that it's okay to not know exactly what to do, but you've got to keep moving forward. Like, if you need to say something, just say it. That's the easiest way. And then if you say it wrong or it comes out wrong, you can apologize and change the way you say, like, hey, I didn't mean that.
Yeah. Hey, that came off not exactly the way I meant it to. So this is what I was getting at.
And that's fine, as long as you're moving forward. So I think something that helps people too, and it helps us, is having goals or even a calendar. And it can just keep people moving in that sort of positive forward progression.
Correct.
The happiness. We have a calendar and we try to go out a little bit and lay things out. And sometimes stuff is up in the air as far as dates and whatever for classes, but we have, educators coming in from outside, which is exciting stuff. And we try to let our staff know ahead of time so that they know that there's still stuff coming down the pipeline. It's not just these guys did classes for the first year. They were open. No, it's part of us.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
And it's, from a level of owning a business, it's constant connections that we make outside of our salon home to keep those things coming down the pipeline.
Right. So have goals.
Have goals. Go for it.
I think another one, and we sort of touched on this earlier, but you have to give your staff the chance to be heard. So one-sided conversations aren't going to really work well when it comes to culture.
Yeah, you have to listen.
Now, I know in some circumstances in business that you have to just tell, it might get to a point where you just say, look, this is the way we're doing it, period.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sometimes that will happen.
Yeah. I'm not talking about giving your why for every single thing. Like, I'm not being interviewed by my employees every day. That's not the position I want to be in. No thanks. Treating people with respect is awesome, but sometimes you're just going to have to say, like, hey, this is how things are.
And that's okay.
But if you're moving your culture in a direction, that's not going to work.
Right.
People are going to tune that shit out real quick. So I'm talking more day-to-day stuff. It might be like, hey, you're being messy. Something going on? Do you need help? Whatever. I need you to clean up after yourself. And that's where that's at. We can talk about the why later on.
Yeah.
But I just need you to do that for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can figure out what's going on and how to make it, maybe we need to make it easier or something.
Yeah, maybe there's a system that needs to go into place to fix that.
But if you're trying to move a culture that probably doesn't want to be moved, you're going to want to have those conversations, actual conversations where you're listening to your staff. So something we do, for example, is we offer monthly phone calls so that we can connect with our staff. And it's really cool because it's on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And
they can do it from wherever they are.
They can do it from anywhere in the world. And it's a private setting, so they can say whatever they want to say. And I think after a handful, so generally in the beginning, people will do them with us, new staff. And they'll tell us from the jump, I'm nervous. After a few of those calls, they're just spilling whatever they're just getting stuff off their chest. Like, hey, I didn't like this. Mm-hmm. Is there anything I could do? Or, hey, I had a really uncomfortable, situation with a client or whatever, how do I deal with that? Like, and it's coming from a place where they understand that we're truly listening to them.
Yeah. And then we can lay out a plan with them.
That's where you can influence culture.
Yeah, 100%.
All this stuff has to be authentic.
Right.
If you're just the owner that's like, well, I said to do it, but I don't do it. No, I'm busy. I have kids at home. I have to get out of here. I have to stop at Market Basket and get dinner. I don't have time to clean, but my salon's the cleanest salon. I actually had somebody grab me, a new client, and they were like, I didn't realize you were the owner. And I was like, oh, did you need something? Like, I'm sorry. I should have been like, I'm the owner. I should have came over to you and been like, why are you here? I'm the owner. I don't know. Maybe people act like that. I don't go around being like, I'm the owner.
Right.
So I was literally on my knees cleaning under a chair. There was hair. I needed to clean it. And she was like, I just don't know of a lot of businesses where you're going to see the owner on his hands and knees cleaning. And I'm like, oh,
I own the business. I want it to be clean.
And it's part of our, we just do it.
I don't even think
it wasn't even
it.
my chair.
Yeah.
We just do it. That sort of
that's
just
those actionable steps.
Yeah.
It's so important. And it starts.
Clients see it. Our staff sees it. And I say it all the time. We have the cleanest salon in the world.
Yeah.
Come see it. Is there hair places? Yeah. It's a fucking hair salon.
Right.
And I cut short hair. So there's clippers and hair flying everywhere. But we do our damn best to keep it clean. Like, I do not walk past something more than once. I might walk past something because I need to grab a vacuum or I need to grab something to wipe it down, but I don't walk past it more than that. And that's just part of our culture.
And everyone on the team does the same.
You'll see somebody jump up and go to walk their client out, grab coats, whatever. They come back, their station's clean. Because there was two people that just happened to have some downtime. Yeah. So they just...
And literally, we just whoever it was, thanks.
I've seen people that are working in stations next to each other. They're sitting there talking to their client while their client's processing. And they'll get up, they're still talking to their client, and they wipe off the counter for the person that's cashing their client out or whatever.
And that's a culture we created. And we do it ourselves.
Correct. So my point was, you need to be authentic and you need to do that stuff too.
Agreed.
Another thing I think people need to do is focus hardcore on their communication.
Yes.
So I don't know what that looks like for you, but do it. Work on it. Just get better at it. Have conversations. Be frank. I stole it from Gary Vee, but candor a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's really a reason to do a compliment sandwich with people anymore. That's sort of an old school tactic. And sure, that works, whatever. But I just tell people.
Most people just want to be told.
Yes. I
had a conversation the other day with one of our staff on how to have better conversations with your clients that are just more appropriate. And she's like, are you mad at me? And I'm like, why would I be mad at you? I'm just we just got to work through this. That's it. And she's like, oh, okay. And then a few minutes later, are you mad? Because I didn't do all this fluff, whatever. I was just like, hey, we got to work on this. As a team, we got to get through this. And this is how I would do it next time. And then Todd and I will put together kind of a system for all of you because this is something that we need to work on. And that was it. Yeah,
controlling the conversation. That's important.
Yeah.
So, and it's important in our culture. And I guess that we hadn't had that come up yet.
No. And it's just been a few things.
So no big deal.
Yeah. We got to talk about this right now. And we'll come up with ways to get you out of those conversations and how to redirect them. Call it a day. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Perfect. So I think the last thing that I want to say is that it comes back to the core principles. I know you pointed it out. We pointed out every show, but communicating your core principles once and moving on, that's not enough. You have to constantly enforce, constantly remind people. And
Ours are on the wall.
Ours are on the wall, and we point them out to people. Yeah. I've had staff that are asking questions, and I'll say, "Did you read the core values? Have you read them recently?" Because
it'll answer most of your questions.
And it's living it too.
Yeah.
It's doing the stuff, doing the things, being a real person, being authentic, all that stuff you have to do if you want any chance of having a strong culture. And don't let your staff try to take it over. We have a great staff right now. Yes, I really, really enjoy our staff.
It's always fun when the clients say it too. I had a client the other day who's been with me for 23 years, and she's like, I just love what you've done in here. Like, it's so different than your last salon, and the team you have in here, it is amazing to watch. And I'm proud of that.
I am too. That's great to hear. Thank you, client.
Thank you, client.
Thanks, Lisa. I don't know who said it.
It wasn't Lisa, but her name can be Lisa. I'm okay with that.
Anything else?
No. Make a change, do something, figure out where you need to go with your salon culture, figure out where your holes are. And if you need help and you can't focus, reach out. We're here.
Yes, there is a button now in our show notes and on our website that you can book a call with us. And I think we have another one booked next Monday. We have another one.
Great.
Anyways, somebody that's starting a business, they're starting a salon from the ground up. Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited to talk to her and offer some advice. But that's not what this podcast is about right this second. So let's get out of here. We'll wrap it up.
Peace out. Have a great day.
Yeah,
do something amazing today.
Thanks for, there's your call to action. Do something amazing today. Don't forget to check out PingPong. And let us know if you need anything.
We're here.
Thanks for listening.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Bye.